Let's go to the next page. 126. It says, this man told him that the inhabitants of Cibola had first imprisoned the Negro and afterwards put him to death, as also several of the Indians who accompanied him. These tidings threw consideration among consternation among the Father Marcos' followers. Oh, I see. What happened to this Negro? What did he do? What did he do? Let me show you what he did. Page 252. Hold on. $252. It says here, therefore, in order to be no longer obliged to do a thing to which they had so great an aversion, they nearly all hung themselves, and they were found in the morning a single village, 50 families which had made way with them in this manner. The Spaniards, frightened at the horror of the spectacle, tried to divert the rest of the barbarians from a resolution to cruel. Wait, hold on a second. That's what I'm looking for. Oh no, man, I'm trying to look for that shit. So they can understand. The day that the Spaniards left Chavala, they missed 3 slaves, of whom 2 were Negroes, and the other a Moor. See, there's a distinction. The love of the woman, rather than any bad treatment, had caused them to flee and live among the Indians, who were so delighted to have them that they could never recover them whatsoever haste they made with that purpose. It says, as the Negroes loved their masters and passed for good Christians. You see that, Negroes? Yeah, we're good Christians. You love your white people. They were surprised at their crime, but no one was astonished at the conduct of the Moor, who was crafty and wicked. You understand what that means? Now you see what we're talking about, family? Now you understand why this kid had to be killed. Just like today, you are not trustworthy. And I mean, we don't got to do all that fucking killing shit, but it's called separation. With this fleet, Alvarado's vessel went to the islands of Terceira, where they remained 15 days for other vessels, which was coming from India. And it was in company with the 3 vessels escorted by a squadron. And they all set out together and entered the port of Lisbon, August 15th, 1537. You see this? Durantes and Castillo also returned to Spain. The Negro Estebano remained in Mexico, and he served as a guide for Francisco Marco de Niza in an expedition in Cimbola, where Estebano, on an account of some improprieties, was killed by the Indians. Because you were sleeping with our sisters. Fuckface. Has that ever changed? I want to know, seriously, has that changed? Coronado had taken with him the Negro Esteva and 3 Franciscan monks, one of whom was the father of Marco de Nica, who had already taken part of the expedition to Don Pedro Alvarado. You see that? So you're in here, but you got killed. You weren't worshipped like a fucking god. What are you talking about? What are you saying? Let me see something real quick. Page 87. Let me see if I can get 82. Give me a second, fam. Right there. Continue.
Cabeza de Vaca documented. All believe that we came from heaven. They would not eat until we had blessed their food. 16th century Spanish chronicler Pedro Castañeda wrote that when Esteban later guided the Coronado expedition, he traveled ahead of the main party, sending back messages with information about the lands ahead. He was literally the advanced scout for European exploration of the American Southwest. According to Father Marcos de Niza, who traveled with Esteban in 1539, the African explorer had learned multiple native languages and was received everywhere we went with much solemnity. This man was negotiating on behalf of the Spanish crown across thousands of square miles. An African man. In 1536, healing the sick, speaking multiple languages, leading expeditions, and serving as the primary diplomatic contact between two worlds. And you never heard this story? Why? Ask yourself that question.
You know, by listening to this bullshit, constantly fucking bullshit, you know, constant bullshit, you know what I'm saying? Like, you totally missed the point. Because it ignores your history.